Welcome. This is Zangler, your Tesla Semi advocate, bringing you the latest drone footage of Giga Semi, the high volume Tesla Semi factory construction site. It's 26 degrees in the morning, about 7 o'clock on a Saturday, February 8th, 2025. And let's see what we got. See what we got today. My first pass is a low-level pass, specifically trying to look at the windows, or if there are windows. I believe there are windows there. I can't tell for sure, but I feel strongly that there are windows there. One of the first things I notice is that almost every loading bay has a loading thing, a loading thing. That's what we call them. And then these actually have doors, and those are thermal insulated doors, and they have a little window so you can see. And then there's more of those doors, and here are not windows. There's plastic. So I think if those were not windows over there, they would have plastic. So I feel pretty confident that there are windows. Notice the flag. The wind has been blowing 40, 45, 50 miles an hour, which is one of the reasons why I haven't been able to fly the drone in 10 days. So anyway, now we're going to fly in and take our normal higher altitude look and see what we can see. Okay, I lied. We're staying low. We're staying low for a bit. Can't really see what's going on in there. You see a lot of equipment and utility work being done on the outside. If you notice, that moisture is frozen, like my hands. I spare no pain to bring you recent coverage. One of the reasons I do it is so that if you are a Tesla investor, you can keep your eye on the ball and kind of get an insight into what this Tesla Semi high volume factory is doing, and that can help you perhaps with your conviction. I know that's what Joe Tegmeyer did for me several years ago as they were building the Tesla Gigafactory in Austin. And it was kind of hard times. The stock wasn't doing great. There's a lot of drama, and watching the efficiency and the way that Tesla built that factory was helpful for me, and I hope this is helpful for you. To me, this is a project, the Tesla Semi, that is much easier to predict that it will be profitable and become a thing, unlike some of the other things Tesla is working on, like Robo-Taxi and Optimus Robot, whose will eventually be very profitable, I'm sure. I don't know that, I don't believe they'll be ready in 2 weeks, like this will, the metaphorical 2 weeks. But this has a solid timeline and no unknown, unpredictable barriers, if that makes any sense to you. Here are those very nice doors. I'm looking forward to seeing what else we can see in the video. I do know, spoiler alert, there's a lot of concrete has been poured over in the stamping pit, which you could have predicted in 10 days they would get a lot done. There's a lot of the freshwater blue pipe and stormwater management pipe work still being done. And now we get a good look at the roof, and it is largely complete. You can see some workers back there working in the Section E, which is the last section that they completed. Let's look to see if they brought any HVAC equipment in. I do not see any. This is the northeast corner. A lot of heavy equipment, a lot of work being done on the outside. Probably so many different fronts on this battle that it's hard to keep track of all the different work being done. Again, you can see some melted, some ice, and it was probably melted snow and then turned to ice. Decided to get a little look up this way while we have decent lighting. We've not been able to see this northern side of the building very well because of the winter low light and the fact that I fly from the right. The drone takes off from the right, and looking into that building, we're looking from north to south right into the sunlight. So this is the best look we've had in quite some time. So let's enjoy that. See if there's anything unusual or new that you can spot. And we can discover it together. Again, I cannot emphasize how helpful the viewers are that know much more about these things. And I'd like to especially shout out to Desi Doolin, who constantly on YouTube, so go over there and look at the YouTube video and the comments on your big screen, and he talks about, he has a lot of knowledge on stamping presses. I'll kind of quote from him when the time comes. Now look at this big junction box. Again, electricians can explain better than I what's going on there. That does look like it's electrical rather than for stormwater management or fresh water. More electrical, see there, coming out of the ground. Conduit coming out of the ground and going into the building. We are now at the southeast corner, turning the corner here and looking at all the progress. Then it was early on a Saturday, so it wasn't incredibly crowded, which is actually good. I feel better flying the drone when there's not as many people working. All of the concrete has been poured inside this factory. I am highly confident in saying that. And who knows what they were able to do in the last 10 days. If they brought in some production equipment already, perhaps move the CATL battery assembly line that they purchased and own, may have been moved in. Here is a nice look around at the beautiful sunrise. And there's the sun peeking over the horizon. And as I've said before, I can't wait to see that sun rise over those mountains in the east and see hundreds and hundreds of Teslas lined up, ready to be delivered, and approximately 140 or so a day being produced at this factory. We just got a good look at Legacy Giga, Nevada, and we're just going to take a look around. Lot of Tesla semis in action this morning. As I drove in, I must have seen 7 or 8 in motion, including some that you want to stay tuned for tomorrow. I'll post a video of something I have never seen before in terms of a Tesla semi. There is the gray branding on this factory that either looks like a semi or the Robovan. And speculation is running wild that they might be building the Robovan here. At least initial production of it makes sense for many reasons. 1, it's large, like the semi. 2, It's low volume, which relatively speaking, 50,000 a year is low volume compared to a car plant assembly line. You can see the protective, forget what those things are called, those straw bales. They have a really funny name put around that thing to keep water out and to keep people from driving over it. Now we're coming along the south end. You see the workers on the roof finishing it up. Your ubiquitous sanitary outhouses for workers. There's more. It's funny how I remember it early on in the project and at Giga, Texas, you could speculate how many workers might be on site based on the number of sanitary devices, outhouses, were on the premises, because there's some regulation about how many you have to have per worker. A lot of activity. I don't believe that's a security truck. I think that's a contractor or Tesla construction employee. By the way, Tesla runs this construction. They do not outsource construction to a general contractor. They do it themselves. Here, by the way, there's that. We just got a good look at all of that some concrete that was poured at the south stamping pit, and we'll get another good look at it. But a lot of activity here. A lot of rebar being still, I think we'll see a truck bringing in a bunch of rebar, and look at that. That's some serious rebar work right there. As somebody pointed out, there is no concrete. There's simply forms being placed, and then the rebar being worked on above that platform, and that wood and that supporting structure will be removed after the concrete is poured and cured. Here's another look at how they cut stairs down into these stamping pits, and at the considerable progress made here. This concrete was not there 10 days ago. You can see again how they are going to build a platform or a floor over that roof, or over that for that stamping pit. One transfer press, this is from Desi, one transfer press is likely on this footing. A transfer press shifts the component through a series of dies, progressively adding more and more shape. Giga Texas has a number of transfer presses. Desi says he hasn't kept count. Giga casting machine, Giga press. At Giga Texas, these are mounted at grade, either on an embedded steel machine base for the 6,000-ton machines, or directly on the floor, 9,000-ton machines. More or less, nothing other than an extremely thick, heavily reinforced slab. No subterranean chambers. So what he's saying is these subterranean chambers are adjacent to the actual stamping machines. That would be the chamber to the right. The chamber contains the isolation mounts for the press, access for maintenance, utilities, conveyor lines. Dies are changed at grade/ground level. Top and bottom dies are moved in and out of the presses on mobile bases called bolsters. YouTube video titled Servo Press Line at Mercedes-Benz Plant Bremen for an example of this style of press, similar at Giga Texas. So this is what I mean by the added value that our viewers provide. Just a beautiful morning. Beautiful sunrise here in northern Nevada. By now, my hands are frozen solid. I simply can't wear any gloves because I have to be able to touch the screen to zoom in and zoom out. I can fly the joystick controls, but there's more to it than that. What a beautiful sight. you can see, we'll get a little bit closer look, but you can see those doors are installed here. There's, as I've mentioned in the past, there are 3 major sections that have loading bays. This is one of them, a smaller section, over here by the stamping presses, possibly bringing in raw material for stamping. There's a giant door. The other largest area is all along the north wall that we started out watching, and we saw all of those shipping loading bay doors installed. That is the vast majority of the loading bays, and that's the north end, which we're getting a glimpse at right now. And then the east end also has, the southeast end also has a handful of loading bays. The vast majority of raw material and supplier parts are going to come in at those northern shipping bays. It's nice to not have any wind. I don't know if I could have flown, not because the drone can't handle it, but because the wind chill would have been unbearable. It was 26 as it is. With any wind at all, it would have been painful. Here's a nice entrance or exit out with several still shots of Giga Nevada in the background, and Legacy Giga Nevada in the background, and Giga Semi in the foreground. Thank you very much.